One of the things that the upper middle class and the wealthy don't understand is how expensive it is to be poor.
So I'm not really sure how I made it over to the white men crying on video about their finances side of TikTok. But I was over there for a little bit. And at first I was like laughing because it's like FAFO, right? Because like y'all voted for this and now it's affecting you. But then I started to think like these are normally the people that and so to see them online in this much disarray where they're on video crying in full tears about their finances and how mad they are. Y'all be safe out here.
I think we should normalize asking people on a first date who they voted for because I need to know if you're a moron or not.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Mahren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right, so in today's episode, you're going to be reacting to white Americans realizing what black people have been saying all along, and they're only right now realizing that the American struggle does not only belong to black people, but also to everyone in America.
Right, and amongst our speakers today, we're going to be listening to one palm-colored woman as she speaks of how hard it has been to live in America right now, and that they're not lazy and they've done everything the government and other people have told them to do in order for things to be okay and in order for them to stay afloat. Only that things keep getting worse and nothing is getting better.
Right, guys, this is not to say that white people in America didn't used to struggle. This is to say that there was a point in time where the percentage of white people who are struggling in America was very few compared to black people in America. And when black people were coming out to complain about these very issues, they were called lazy and they were told to go get a job and they were told to work hard, right?
Right, and right now the number of white people who are sliding into difficult times has increased drastically, and especially because of the tariffs that have been put in America.
Right.
But what are we talking about, guys? Let's watch this video and then we come back and talk about it. You can also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel, and let us know what you think about this episode. Let's watch.
Work, sleep, and pay bills, repeat. That's not a life. That's a sentence. They told you if you worked hard that you'd make it, but in reality, all you made was just enough to survive. You wake up tired and you go to sleep anxious, and every day off of work, you just spend it recovering from all the damage. The food costs more, and the rent keeps going up, but the paycheck still stuck in 2015. This isn't the American dream. This is economic gaslighting. They sold us freedom, but delivered a treadmill.
The 9-to-5 grind, corporate America was not designed, not even 1,000 years ago, barely even 100 years ago. You need to understand that the 9-to-5, the Industrial Revolution is what really kind of made this a thing in the late 1800s. And you're telling me that all of a sudden that this solidifies what the human race is going to look like for eternity? No, it's not. We evolve, we adapt. And I do not see this continuing hundreds of years without us completely burning out. There is dozens and dozens of videos that I see of people, I don't want to work, I'm so done with this, I hate working to live, and everyone's just like, you're lazy, you don't even want to work, this generation is so lazy. We're not lazy, we're just realizing this facade that was created so that the big corporations and the big men and the Industrial Revolution can stay a thing.
Okay, so this is a little message for the government. Not that you probably care, but if you do, this is a message for you. I just went to fill up my car, and it cost me $102. Okay, that's a sick joke. Considering my car used to be $80, like how did we get to this? Like $102. You've just like cost me about 5 cups of coffee that I now won't buy because I had to put extra in my fucking car for fuel this week. I basically feel like I would really like to know what you guys all earn and what exactly you fucking do to earn that kind of money, because I can sit down and tell you what I do at work, and I work really, really fucking hard, but I've got to live week to week because the inflation right now is kicking me in the ass.
Well, second time in a year, almost a year to the day, I got laid off again, twice in a year, and what the fuck? What is anyone supposed to do? And they said, because of the economy is crap right now, so we're gonna lay off a whole bunch of people again. And I already was struggling so hard, actually low-key, to even keep the current roof over my head. And now I have no idea how I'm even going to get through the next few hours. I just don't understand. But yeah, the economy is shit. America is shit right now. I feel like there's a really big plan for them to, tank this so that we have to rely on other things, other people. It's fucking shit. And I'm quite frankly tired of it. I'm tired of my livelihood being in other people's hands. And I have no idea how to fix that, but I'm going to, because this is just wild. And I'm fucking angry more than I am hurt or sad. I am scared. I have no idea where any of my bills are gonna come from, or the money. I'm more angry than anything because I just cannot even believe I used to be able to get a job like the week later if I got laid off.
Why do conservative women have TikTok? Why do they post on TikTok or social media in general? Why are they making themselves heard? Why are they using their voices? Why do conservative women vote? Why do they have jobs? Why do they have their own bank accounts? Why do they have phones? Why are they owning their own cars? Why are they out and about by themselves? None of it makes any sense to me. Like, why are you exercising your rights that progressives and feminists got for you? And then getting on your platforms, using your voice, exercising your rights to advocate against them. To say women shouldn't vote. Don't vote then! You don't think women should vote? I don't want you to vote either. Honestly, but I would never say that you shouldn't have the right to. Why are you voting if you don't think you should have the right to? Why are you exercising these rights to advocate against them? My brain is cramping up just thinking about how stupid you have to be. How stupid you have to be to literally utilize your rights while saying you shouldn't have them.
One of the things that the upper middle class and the wealthy don't understand is how expensive it is to be poor. And this is one of those things that causes the biggest disconnect between the two classes. So to me, this is one of the most important videos that I've made so far. And I hope I can shed some light on it so that people in that upper middle class and above range can understand what low-income people go through on a daily basis just to live. I want to break it down in sections so that I can show those hidden costs that the upper middle class take for granted because they don't have to deal with them. First, let's take a look at housing. So if you drive by a neighborhood that's obviously low income and you see all the houses and they're all in disrepair, they're all in bad shape, you can see, the windows are old, the siding's old and everything, and you probably think to yourself, wow, that rent's gotta be super cheap, for the people that are living there. And you would be right. Or if you drive by a trailer court, you would probably say the same thing, that the rent's obviously gotta be extremely cheap and for those people that are living in there. And again, well, not so much anymore, but in the past, you would be correct that the rent was a lot cheaper. But here's the hidden cost for the low income people that is never talked about and is never really thought about. See, when I lived in a trailer, I lived in a 14 by 72, really small. Those things are put together like shit. And so all of these low income homes, whether you're talking about a house or you're talking about a trailer, they're not insulated right. Nothing's been maintained. There's leaks everywhere. The windows haven't been updated. The trailers, they only have like a metal shell and really thin insulation, they're framed together by 1x3s. So they're garbage. So yeah, the rent was cheap. When I owned mine, it was $525 a month for lot rent, but I lived in a very cold state. But when the winter would come, it was not uncommon to see electric bills, heating bills at $550 a month, which is insane. So you would go from the summer, which would be okay, your utility costs would be a lot lower. 200 range because you constantly have to run that damn swamp cooler because those things get hot because they're made out of metal. But in the fall and in the winter and in the beginning part of spring, because it's so cold outside and the heat running and it's just escaping through that thin insulation and through that metal, nothing's holding that heat in. Your utilities would run anywhere from $550, $575 a month. So there's one of the costs. So it's really not that cheap. So when you add that together, you're paying $1,100 a month for a piece of garbage. And you have to remember that this is low income people, so the disposable income is a lot lower already to begin with. Now let's take a look at some other simple things, such as clothing. So lower income people can never justify the expense when they need to go buy a new pair of shoes to pay $80, $90, $100 for a good pair of shoes. And the same thing with jeans and shirts and winter jackets, things like that. Normally they don't have the money in their bank account to afford those expensive items anyway, but they can't justify the cost because they're always living paycheck to paycheck. And so what do? Well, the lower income person buys $25 pairs of sneakers, $30 pairs of sneakers, whatever they can afford. Same thing with the jeans, $10 at the fucking Walmart or whatever, But what happens? Here's where it gets expensive. Those shoes don't last. They wear them to work. They wear those jeans to work, their winter jacket to work. They're made cheaply, so they just start friggin' falling apart after 60 days. So they end up having to buy the same damn pair of shoes 4, 5, 6 times a fucking year. So it gets more expensive. These are the costs that are hidden from public view most of the time for the low income people of this country. Now let's look at like cell phones. Just to have a basic cell phone, a lot of low income people have terrible credit and they don't have a lot of income. So it's riskier for these people. It was not unheard of for people going to get cell phones who were low income. They would have to come up with a $200 or $250 deposit just to get a cell phone. When you look at like going to purchase a car, just a used secondhand car, because everybody needs a vehicle to get to work, they would get terrible, terrible rates. These buy here, pay here places that sell vehicles. You would have a horrible interest rate, 35, 40%, anywhere from 25 to 40%. It's just ridiculous. So there's hidden costs there just because they're poor. Not to mention, even some banks charge poor people fees. Because if you don't have a certain amount of money in your checking or savings account each month, they charge a fee for that. You have to have a limit. One of the worst things that I've seen recently, and it's not a new thing, it's been around for quite a while, but look at these corporations and all of their predatory tactics against poor people. Payday loans, all of this kind of horse shit with interest rates that are astronomical. But you know what? The poor person needs them. Christmas comes around, they have no gifts, so they take out a payday loan and think that that's going to help them through. Or their massive utility bill comes through in the winter and they try to take out a payday loan to hold them over. Or title loans on their damn vehicles. It's so predatory and the interest rates are insane. And so they make these monthly payments or these bi-weekly payments or however they're set up for them. And it's a constant drain, so they get further and further behind. And the squeeze gets tighter and tighter. But it's done by design. When you turn on the TV anymore, look at all these ads that you see for all of these apps that you can download. Oh, you need your money now? Don't wait till payday, get your money now. It's just another way to funnel money away from people who are already in the low income bracket, who are already suffering. These are all these hidden costs that most people sweep under the rug, don't even think about. Most low income people, when it comes to even the food that they consume, most of them can't go out and buy all of the healthy food all at once, right? So it's cheaper to go to a McDonald's to get a meal for $10 because to make that same meal at home, you would have to invest up front, $25. Yeah, it's cheaper in the long run if you can buy bulk and all of that, but most of the low income people can't buy all of the bulk to keep making meals at home to hold them over. They can only afford what's left in their bank account. Not to mention most of the poor people. They can't afford insurance. They don't have medical coverage. So instead of having a doctor that they see on a regular basis, what do? They wait. They don't have any preventive medicine care. They wait. They wait until they get sick. And where the hell do they go? Well, they can't go to a doctor's office because that costs money. So they go to the emergency room. And we all know how much more expensive the emergency room is compared to having a regular doctor. And so they rack up all this medical debt. And it just keeps getting piled on and piled on and piled on. So my goal in this video, I hope, was to be informative, to inform people of all of these hidden costs and to think about these things in a different light. Because being poor in America is expensive as hell. And it just keeps getting worse. All right, guys, this is Grim with Get to Rant, and I'll see you in the next video.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section, yeah? You know, as I said earlier in the introduction, there was a point where Black people used to talk about these issues, economic issues and social issues that are afflicting the whole of America right now. But they were ignored very much, and I'm asking myself, what would have happened then if people just came together? You know, I know it's easier said than done, but just try and level with me. What had happened then if people came together and demanded for better services from their government instead of, because you're not suffering, you're not looking out for your neighbor, because you're comfortable, you choose to not try and speak up for your neighbor when they say they're trying to get jobs but they are not getting jobs. There's a lady here who talked about how in the past she used to, if she was let go, she used to find a job within the same week, but right now it's very, very difficult, yeah? And I feel like for the most part of it, white people might not understand or might never relate to the Black struggle, but right now everybody is experiencing the Black struggle, you know. And also what I'd like to add on to this is, I don't feel like anything pertaining the economy will get any better if the same policies that are hurting all of America keeps being upheld. Right now, I do feel like the best bet for America is for them to fight towards their politicians amending policies that are hurting them and their economy. But you know, there was a speaker here who highlighted something, and she was talking about how the people are not, of course, the ones at the top, they're not doing anything to make the situation better right now because they have a plan. Is it that their plan is to drive everybody to such a place where they are heavily dependent on them to provide food for them to provide their salaries, their their basic needs for them, so that they can be totally dependent on the powers that be, and that will make the powers that be, you know, dictate everything about their life, you know. And personally, if you were to ask me, guys, you know, about the world order, if you were to ask me about whatever is happening right now, I feel like this is the future of a lot of countries in a lot of places, you know, because if they aim to control the whole entire world, then America is just the, what do you call it, experiment, you know. And if they want to control everyone, how do you control people? By controlling their food, by controlling where they sleep. If people can feel grateful to you for providing a roof over their head, it means you're also in control. Yeah, you're in control. Therefore, you'll get cheap labor because, like, at the point where everybody is desperate to find work, they'll be willing to take whatever wage in order for them to provide for their families. And also another thing, I saw a very interesting video on TikTok just the other day, and someone was saying that before this whole economic turmoil started, she had noticed that a lot of people were climbing into the middle class range, and a lot of people from the middle class range were climbing into new money, you get. So when they were climbing into new money, they started affording where the ultra rich could go. And right now the ultra rich are trying more and more to get away from everybody else, meaning others are building bunkers, others are even buying their own islands in order for them to not share space with people they consider commoners. And hence her theory was that in order for them to stop these other people from progressing and climbing to the level where they're at right now, of course they won't reach there immediately, but just the fact that once in a while they could afford what the ultra rich can afford, you can go dining once a month, or in a year you can just spoil yourself where the ultra rich are going. That is a problem to them. That really makes sense, and that's an interesting point of view, because I also do agree that there was a point where people could easily afford their lives, you know, even if you're coming from a, should we say, a disadvantaged background, you had the chance, or you could at least have the hope and opportunity to get yourself out of that place. But right now, we are in such a setup where even the ones who are in the middle class, you know, are getting pushed down because of the policies that have made life hard for them, you know. So my question is, okay, right now, a lot more people are in this category where you have a few people, yeah? How is someone going to work hard to get themselves out? It's not impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but how are you going to work hard to get yourself out of that position when you go to work every day and then one day you come back, the rent has spiked, skyrocketed, you know. What the next day you come back, you don't even have food to eat. So you have to think, are you gonna eat or are you gonna hit your home? You know, it's gonna be difficult. Right now, the black struggle, the black American treatment is, I feel like, visiting everybody's doorstep, you know, if I can say that. And guys, when I say the black American struggle, it's because it's well known that for a good number of years, black Americans were not able to afford good health care, not because they wouldn't want to have a good health care, but because of the systems that had been put against them, you know, just like the systemic racism that was afflicting them. But nobody understood this issue because it wasn't afflicting these other people. It was just affecting the black American community, you know. When I talk about the black American struggle, you talk about a struggle where the system has been against you since birth. Even the kind of schools that are put in your neighborhood are not meant for you to prosper or for you to succeed. They're very underfunded, you know. So what does that mean in the black community? Even getting education becomes a very hard challenge. But right now, when you look at America in general, everybody is going through all these struggles that were once seen as a black American struggle, you know. But my hope and prayer for everybody in America right now is that basically for everybody to just get to a point where they can at least afford the very basic things, the basic human need, that is food, shelter, and clothing, you know.
Right.
That is my prayer for America.
Right, and I think for me, my parting shot would be that when you look at the human race, we are not enemies to each other. The enemy should always be poverty.
Yeah.
The enemy should always be the person who is trying to bring poverty to the community. So once you assess and realize who that is, you got at least a direction to point to. Instead of pointing pew-pews at each other, you point it to the real problem, which is poverty and the policies that bring about the poverty.
Right, guys. I don't know what you have to say about this, but I'd sure like to hear your thoughts and opinion on the comment section. Also consider subscribing if it's your first time here and you're very, very glad that you created time to watch our episodes, right? Let's catch you on the next.